What's up?
Welcome back to another episode of Vibrant Vocations. As you can see, our location is a little different. Okay?
Do you see sun-kissed?
Hello, it's giving. So, we're gonna get into that though. Let's go ahead and start off with our check-in.
Check-ins for sure. So obviously, we want to get into what we're grateful for. Yes. At this very moment. What are you grateful for?
At this very moment, I am grateful for being able to travel and see the world.
She's so mine. No, so I too am grateful for that. I share that. But I'm also grateful to have someone that I'm comfortable traveling with, right? Like, so it's important to have people identify that person or people in your life that you are comfortable traveling with. Because it really can make or break the experience.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm also grateful for that. Food indulgence.
Food indulgence.
What are we eating?
Yeah, we're eating a little bit of everything.
Certainly. You first.
I don't know if I have one. I'm having so much good food right now.
For sure.
I'm having so much good food, and I think so. I'm just really appreciating eating. As a whole.
Me personally don't like cannolis. But I am thoroughly indulging in all of the croissants. All of the croissants. Personally, it's going to be chocolate over everything else, but you could throw a little marmalade in there, maybe a little caramel.
Oh, a little marmalade, a little caramel.
Love the croissants.
Books.
I just finished my little book. It's a book that I purchased a while ago. It's one of those easy reads that you pick up and put down, but I did just finish it on this trip. It's called The Joy of Small Things. The author escapes me, however I can describe it to you. It has this little dog on the front, if you're interested. Little dog on the front, the paperback, and it's yellow. And there's short little, the author does this great job. She wrote it during the pandemic, and she does this great job of identifying little things in life, that of which brings joy. Some examples of that would be red lipstick, house parties, pockets. And she goes about describing those things, and I just absolutely love that little book, and I was really sad once I finished it, but it's such a cute little book. I'll go back and read certain things that are my favorite.
I am okay, so let me go back for y'all who don't know. I think I've said on this podcast before, I am totally a Disney girl. There is an author, her name is Farah Roshan, and she has written an entire series of adult Disney books, but that are based on each Disney princess. But it's not like making the Disney movie into an adult book. It's a completely different story, but with the same characters we know and love. So I'm currently reading the one, it's called Almost There. So it's of course about Princess Tiana. Had to start there. So I've been really enjoying that. And it's so funny because I'm in this Black Girls in Disney group on Facebook, and they were like, we should start a book club, and based on those books, and that's the one they chose. So I already have a leg up on it. So very excited about that.
All right, then.
But let's get into it. Sure. Because we've been talking about being outside, and y'all probably like, where are y'all at? So with that being said, this episode is called We Outside. And we are just talking about embracing summer fun and making the most of your free time. Okay? So let's just get the elephant out of the room, baby. We are in Livorno, Italy right now.
Italy. I've had a plethora of accents out here. I'm sure they're all wrong. But for me, it's bringing me a piece of joy, and I'm big on romanticizing my life. So if I can just act like this is a movie, it's a movie.
Make it a movie.
It's a movie. I'm from here.
But no, we just figured while we are talking to y'all about being outside, walk it like you talk it. You know what I'm saying? We're here. So with that being said, we have just a couple of things that we're going to talk about as a guide to help y'all live your best summer. And I want you guys to know, because we're posting this August. Summer is not over for you. You still have a good month until Labor Day. Sure. And I hope that there is something that we will talk about today that will help you enjoy your summer.
We've heard it time and time again, just how short life actually is, and truly it is. And so we just want to place some emphasis on time. Place emphasis on maximizing your time and creating very memorable experiences, whether it be by yourself or with people that you love. It's very important.
For sure.
First and foremost, you forgive us because we're not in our normal situation, obviously. So I don't have like my Mac up here that I can glance at. So these people are so kind at this restaurant to give us a piece of receipt paper and a pencil.
So we can stay organized.
To stay organized. But we really want to get into essentially empowering you and encouraging you to balance that work and play. It's really easy to get caught up in the weeds of the hustle and bustle that is life, adulting for us grown folk out there. But it's important to go about balancing that work and leisure for your health.
Yeah.
For your health, for your physical, mental, and spiritual health is so important for you to do that. So take breaks. And I am preaching to myself as I say this. You want to be able to take breaks, unplug without feeling guilty.
Yes.
That's hard for me personally. I think we're just groomed that way. Millennials, we have a touch of our parents, and then we have this new generation, and we're groomed essentially to be these extremely high performers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come with a lot of rest. I have been napping, y'all. If you know me,
Give it up for a good nap. Give it up for a good nap.
I struggle with. Yesterday, my nap I think was 2.5 to 3 hours. It was just amazing. So you just want to go about, taking that free time. It is important to manage your time in that regard. It's so important because time is something that you can't get back. This minute that just passed is gone, never to be seen again. So want to place emphasis on that for sure. If I feel like I could give you some tips for time management, that would be like another episode, and it probably wouldn't be longer than 15 minutes, but we can talk about that at a later date. But time management is definitely key when it comes down to, being empowered and balancing that work and play.
Yeah.
But we all know that things cost money, so if we're talking about traveling, certainly this Italy trips, we started planning this Italy trip a year ago.
We did.
Very, very randomly, working in a coffee shop, made the decision that we wanted to go to Italy and got into it.
For sure. And just based off that, I want to talk about financial planning. This is something that, we talk about adulting, right? We talk about these jobs we have. We talk about X, Y, and Z. This is something that, and it's not that it's not crucial to everybody, but this is something that's extremely crucial to me because I'm a teacher. We know how much teachers don't make. I'm not gonna say make, don't make, okay? But one thing about me, and this is not a brag or anything like that, you're going to catch me outside in the summer. You're going to catch me outside in our city. You're going to catch me outside internationally.
She gets on my nerves because she'll figure out how to book a trip, or she'll plan so well to book a trip, multiple trips in the same quarter. Now, that's not everybody's ministry, guys.
Right.
This woman did in fact take 2 international trips last year and a domestic trip in a matter of 2.5 months.
Yeah.
That's not going to be everybody's story,
For sure.
but we're being transparent with this information because if she is able to do it, sharing her financial disposition as far as her career goes, then we're sharing that information so that you can feel empowered that me too, I can do this too.
Absolutely.
With the right amount of planning, you can certainly do this too.
No, again, planning is key. I mean, in our situation, the earlier the better. Let's start there,
yes.
Okay? Because again, we found this trip, it was probably a year ago at this point that we found the trip, and then a couple months later, we started paying on it. Number one, payment plans are going to be your best friend.
For sure.
I want you guys to think about, other things that you do payment plans on, like this bag that you might want, or even bills sometimes, right?
Yeah.
If you can look at it and you can say, you know what, I can break off a piece of this every single month for this, and that'll be the end goal, that'll be mine, it'll be paid for. You can do the same thing with vacation. 100%. Whether that be a cruise, whether that be going somewhere directly, just look into it. Get acquainted with those paying fours. I think we have said that on this podcast already. Yes. We love a paying four.
We love a paying four or six.
Or six, you know, or monthly, right? Whatever the case may be. But you are not, I want to stress that point, because I think we were just talking the other day. I feel like people say, oh my God, you went on that trip, and they're looking at, they might ask you how much did it cost, and they're looking at a grand thing like I gotta dish that out immediately. And no, you don't. No, you don't. And you can take multiple trips. Again, as she just very nicely said, because I teach, I do try not to make long trips like this during the school year. I just think it's a little irresponsible for me. So I do fit my trips really in the summer, and a lot of times they do end up overlapping. That's an accident. I'm gonna try not to do that next year. But
no, she isn't.
But you know, with that being said, just take that time, look at your calendar, and budget. And then you make, you know, because the thing about it is, did we come here still needing to spend money? Yes, a little bit, but the main thing was paid for. So just budget and keep going, and make sure you got a good little savings. You need a savings in the United States, but you definitely need a savings if you're traveling internationally, because you just never know.
You never know. You might miss a flight. Your luggage might be left in Turkey, and you have to take 2 trips back to the airport. What an adventure, nevertheless. But certainly, you can definitely plan ahead. The bulk of this trip was paid for in a matter of months. In the spirit of transparency, because I think we do a good job with that here, we didn't pay more than $320 a month per person to ensure that this trip happened, traveling across Italy. So that's just, you know, we can, if you're interested in the intricacies of the planning, we can certainly do that offline. You can reach out to us.
Absolutely.
But it's more cost effective than you think.
Yes.
Than you think.
100%.
And you know, life is truly meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be enjoyed. I can't imagine, I love what I do, let me say that first and foremost, career-wise, but I can't imagine looking up one day and realize that I just worked.
Didn't go anywhere.
And retired, or had to wait until I retired to start, quote-unquote, living.
A lot of people do.
And really and truly, you have to plan for that as well. Like, what are you going to do when you retire, when all of your life you spent working? Like, you don't have any experience doing anything else. You haven't developed any hobbies. Perhaps you haven't left your city, and this is no shade to anybody that hasn't left their city. It's more or less me encouraging you to leave your city, because it is just a big world out there. And I must let you know that the prices here in Italy, obviously the currency that they use are euros, but the prices here are very comparable to home. If not a little cheaper. Yes. So just so you know, if you can live in Chicago, you can live anywhere.
Right.
You can live anywhere. So let's get into our recommendations. We're going to start, Melissa's going to start with our tidbit on, she kind of just touched on it, but maybe she wants to get into it a little bit more as far as travel and adventure goes.
Yeah, so we started at the top, right? We just started at the top telling you guys about traveling internationally, or maybe again, you want to travel domestically, but let's take it even down a notch more. You can do road trips, especially for those of you who, like we said, maybe you have not been anywhere. And please understand, we're not saying this to shame anybody, because sometimes people just don't know. They don't travel as children, so therefore they grow up and they become adults that don't know how to travel. So use this as a guide, okay? But you can start with a road trip. One of my favorite things to do when I'm like, I need to go somewhere, I will get on Google and I will say, you know, quick day trips from Chicago or quick day trips from wherever. So start there from where you are and do it. The gas is not going to kill you. You will get that money back. You know, find you a nice, cute Airbnb if that's your thing. If not,
that's my thing.
If not, a hotel. But one thing I want to say about Airbnbs, they typically are not always in like the downtown of wherever you're going, like hotels. And so it gives you a really nice opportunity to really see these neighborhoods and really find low-key things that maybe, you know, most people who go there do. Even if it's just shopping, small businesses, things like that. So yes, we love a road trip, but use that as your guide. Take a road trip. It could be the weekend, you know. I think that there is this connotation that people think, oh, a vacation is a week,
7
right?
to 10 days.
Yeah, got to be gone this long time. No, you do not. If there is a holiday that you fortunately get off of work, you know, take you a half day on Friday or off Friday and take you a long weekend and go somewhere and explore.
There's so many different national parks for our outside babies. If you like to be outside, you like to hike, you like to walk, walking trails, tons of national parks you can drive to. Also, go see one of your favorite artists that are on tour in other cities.
Yes.
A time was had when we went to New Orleans to go see Beyonce.
Yes.
I saw Beyonce in Chicago, but it was even more of an experience when we went to New Orleans. Also, Airbnb, she mentioned Airbnb. That's probably my favorite app. I probably scroll on Airbnb like people scroll on Instagram. I thoroughly love that app. It gives me so much. What does it do for me? First of all, I'm into real estate, so it does give me ideas.
Yeah. Interior, design.
Yes, lots of interior design ideas, and just, you know, maybe I never thought about going to Chattanooga.
Right.
Now I want to go because this Airbnb is there. So that's something to think about. And there are just so many other festivals in different places. Like Ohio, I think, has like a jazz or a blues festival.
Yeah.
She mentioned to me that T-Pain hosts a festival in Wisconsin
every year.
Memphis in May is a thing. So, like, you know, those are some things. The Essence Festival, I mean, truly, there's so many different things that you can do as far as having a long weekend. Or maybe you just want to unplug.
Yeah.
Maybe you just want to unplug, go somewhere, change your location. I will say that we took a long weekend when we went skiing 2 winters ago.
Yeah.
And both of us were still in school. But I will say that having broken, going somewhere else, I still had to take my homework with me.
Yeah.
Luckily for us, we didn't have to do that for this trip.
Yeah.
But for that trip, I woke up just a little bit early to do whatever writing assignment I had to do. But just changing the scenery made things so much more easier and calmer. It just felt better. So something to consider as well. Like, it doesn't have to be the super lavish thing. Just go somewhere, even if it's just an hour drive out of the city.
Yeah.
Right? It's not home though, so it's something. It's something else, and it's something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
It's very important to have something to look
I want to
forward
say one more thing.
Sure.
You were talking about the music festivals, and I just thought about it because I think, again, for people who don't plan, I feel like people think that they always need to have this put together plan. Like, I'm going to do this needs to boom, 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 boom. If I think that actually going to see a music artist in a different city is probably the easiest way to start. And you don't have to have anything figured out. For me, I've been gauging it based on like cheaper seats, right? Because I go see people in Chicago. United Center is huge. I know that to be true. You know, when me and one of my best friends went and saw Drake, last summer we chose Detroit simply because I had been to that arena, so I knew it was smaller, and so I knew that the seats would be a little bit cheaper. Those of you who have Usher tickets, I'm hating a little bit because I've been back and forth. However, I do think that I'm gonna go see Usher in Minnesota because, again, I looked it up and the seats were cheaper. But think about that though. I'm saying that in the spirit of I wasn't thinking about going to Minnesota, but I was like, you know what? This is something to look forward to. A quick little runaway weekend in Minnesota, see Usher, maybe go to the Mall of America. You know what I mean? But it just does not have to be a big to-do whatsoever.
For sure. Excuse me, I'm escaping in the architecture that is around us.
It's beautiful.
Next thing, we're going to talk about some cost-effective activities. One of the most cost-effective activities is truly going outside. It's going outside. A whole lot of planning does not have to go into it. I had a very spontaneous beach day with my family this summer, and the most money that I spent was on the items that I put in my cooler.
That's it.
That's it. We went to a beach actually that I didn't even know existed in Gary, Indiana. It was very pretty. It was very clean. Highly recommend. Probably go back before the summer is over. But mentioning beaches, go outside and get some of that solar therapy.
Yes.
One day on this trip, I did nothing, and I mean nothing, but lay in the sun for hours. I got lost in that sun. Obviously, put your SPF on. Don't be one of them people. But I just laid, and I believe that the sun is healing. I do think that there is some. It does the body good. It does the mood good. And truly, I wish I could stay this color all year round. When we record in December, you'll see a vast difference. However, go outside if you like. Again, I mentioned earlier, if you like to hike, if you like to take trail walks, go outside, get into nature. There are so many different walking trails, even outside of the skirt, outside of the city of Chicago. Tons of things that you can do. I mentioned the beach, maybe a pool.
Yes.
We actually just recently went to Deep River Water Park.
Yes.
Fed our inner child. It was thoroughly a really good time. I had so much fun that day, getting all the wedgies in the world on this very high
water slides
that no one else wanted to get on. But beach, lake day, parks and trails, go outside. And again, most money that I spent on these things were the food items, mostly the alcohol that I put into the cooler prior to leaving. So I'm just gonna leave that there for you guys.
Another good one would just be, looking and seeing like what's actually in your community. We talked about festivals a little bit, but sometimes there are things that may not call out to you. You're like, I don't know about that. Just go. Most of these festivals are free. Sometimes you can see people perform. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't. Vibe. Festivals are such a vibe, y'all. And also, side note, they're a really good date. It's a lot of fun things you can do. But yeah, a couple weeks ago, one of my best friends invited me to a festival that Twista was performing at. I don't know if y'all know Twista, but anyway, Chicago legend. Okay, and we went off the premise because her little cousin was singing backup. We didn't know anything else about the festival, but it was.
And end up having a time.
Yeah. It was really nice. It was all about NASCAR because NASCAR recently was in Chicago. So there were like walkthroughs and pop-ups. We learned a lot of history, especially about, like the minority drivers that I walked in, didn't know anything about. So that was just kind of cool to learn. And then of course got to see him perform. There were tons of different food vendors, some known Chicago ones, some that's not, they're out there. They got the little tastings. It's a vibe. Festivals are such a vibe. And there's so many.
Every weekend in Chicago, there is some fest. You must
100%.
understand at the top of the summer, actually towards the end of the spring, that's when I usually find myself Googling the festivals and the dates, really, because I know that they're happening.
Yes.
Millennium Park has movies in the park throughout the week. Yeah. Those are free. Those are free events that you can go to. All you have to do, again, the items in your cooler and a blanket and make yourself comfortable out there. But some great festivals that I've gone to, very serendipitously, Wicker Park. If you're into the art scene, they tend to have some house music going. I personally love house music. So Wicker Park, Andersonville, River North has something all the time. If you want to travel more, maybe you stay in the suburbs. Tinley Park has plenty of festivals.
Park Forest has a thing they do every week.
Every Wednesday. Lansing does too, actually. They do something similar to what Park Forest does. So go outside, meet the people in your community. I live in Hegewisch, and we just started doing actually a farmer's market right there around the corner from my home. And again, these are just people in your community. You get to meet them. You spend some time meeting new people and just, catching whatever vibe you can catch when you can catch it, right? And I tell my friends all the time, especially the ones that are dating, with intention, okay? Like, in order to catch that said body, you do have to leave your home.
Yes.
Unless you just want to entertain online dating, but even then, you need to leave your home.
Leave your home at some point.
At some point.
But no, great way to meet people.
Great way to meet people, absolutely. We're transition, actually. Speaking of outside, one of my favorite things to do personally for me at the end of my work day, I come and go into my backyard and I sit on the little raggedy bench out there. You've probably heard me discuss that little raggedy bench. But I sit out there and I just sit. I sit, I breathe, I meditate. So for those, if you're looking for some DIY things, I know some people that like to set up camps in their backyards.
Yeah, they do.
We actually came up with this. Shout out to Toysey. Toysey gave me this idea of getting these miniature pools. Was it Toysey?
Was it Toysey? You told me about it.
Okay, I believe it was Toysey. She said, we're going to make this happen too. Everybody has to have their own pool, like for themselves, the inflatable pool, bring it to the backyard, and we're going to have this pool day.
Yes.
I'll provide the food and drinks, etc., etc. But that's something that you can do at the house. That's a
100%.
DIY thing. Just like the camping, maybe you want to have a bonfire. I had one of those for my birthday. It's a very successful event. Had a little too much fun. Ended up climbing on the roof of my garage. Don't want to talk about that, but nevertheless, you can get into some really creative things. Pinterest is another app that I really enjoy.
Pinterest.
I probably scroll on there just as much as I scroll on Airbnb, but maybe you're one of those girls that are into like spa treatments, and maybe you want to host like a little spa day at your house, a little DIY situation where you guys are giving each other manicures, pedicures, facials. Yeah. This woman loves that. Me personally, give me a massage. But yeah, you can get creative with that time as well. Especially like send the invite. Like if you haven't seen people in a while, because it's really easy to not see people when you're connected to them.
For sure.
And life is happening to everybody at the same time, right? Like you can get creative and set something up that can be cost effective at your own home.
Yes, and honestly, y'all, the cheat code to DIY summer fun is Dollar Tree.
Get into it.
It is Dollar Tree. Whether it be the facial stuff, you can go there and grab. I did a paint and sip with Welch's for my godchildren at my home, simply because I went to Dollar Tree and was like, what can I find for us to do? And I literally went in there, found some canvases, got the paint, and we were in my backyard just painting. Yeah. I mean, you can make your own vibe very, very, very cost efficiently. Dollar Tree is the cheat code, 100%. Next thing I want to talk about is just getting into some of the cultural things in your city, right? That's your museums. You know, I'm not sure where they are everywhere, but Chicago has a beautiful, 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 beautiful planetarium that I actually can say, unfortunately, I just was able to really see for real for the first time at 31. Oh, I had a blast.
Wow.
Beautiful. And again, I feel like it's probably in every major city, but these places have free days, especially in the summer.
Yes.
Especially in the summer. Are you going to run into a little bit of a crowd? Yes. But again, what a way to meet people. Yeah. What a way to become immersed in the things your city has going on. Because with those free days, although they have the crowds, they usually also have some other pluses, you know. Sometimes they have people bring out ice cream. Sometimes they have little swag bags, you know, from sponsors, whatever it may be. But that is such a great way to learn more about your city and the history that it has. Yeah. Another good thing that we were talking about, and I want to say this, y'all. For those of you who are not in Chicago or anywhere in the south suburbs of Chicago, Park Forest is a very small community, but they do a lot. They just announced that they were having their art walk, and it's funny because I remember them having that when I was little, and it's a very popular event. The people come out for the art. But that being said, where you are probably has an art walk as well. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's a great way to, yes, especially in Chicago, it's a great way to see some art if you're interested in purchasing, you know, get some inspiration, learn about some big artists and small time artists, you know, in your city. It's awesome. It's awesome to just be immersed in the culture of wherever it is you are or wherever it is you're visiting. art walk is a great thing to see. You know, if you're, again, taking that road trip, see if they have an art walk coming up. What a great way to learn some things, meet some people.
And be inspired. Sure. And there's nothing like, you know, investing in a beautiful piece of art.
Yeah.
I have a piece of art in my home that I actually sold. I sold it back in 2012. The owner, that of which I sold it to, passed away. And so I obviously am still connected to her family, and I requested to purchase the piece back, even for more than what she paid for it, because I was just so connected to that piece of work and was like, no one else in this world should have that piece. If she doesn't have it, I need to have it, right? Yeah. And it's such a statement when people walk into my home. So don't shy away from the art shows, okay? Yeah. And you might be making quite the investment. You know, you don't know what exactly you're purchasing or where that I went to actually an art event that was hosted by Jack Daniels. Yeah, it was a beautiful event. A lot of our people out there just vibing, sipping, talking, chatting. I had tons of compliments that night because it was just great energy in the room, truly. Lots of beautiful people. Just in this space where all this beautiful art is, and just having a time. These events are out there. Yes, you might have to do a little bit of research, but they're not that far away from you. They're not that far away from you. I keep talking about outdoor recreation because I do spend a lot of time outside in the summer because I want this color real bad. I'm trying to hold on to this color for dear life.
As long as you can.
For dear life. I will go cut the grass just so I can get a little bit of sun. But even Chicago started something for those people who enjoy running. You don't have to run the entire time, but they just started a run club. Yeah. They meet on Saturdays at 8 a.m. and they're running alongside the lake. That's something that I actually enjoy doing with my nephew. We try to do that maybe once a month. The cadence can be a little bit more. But nevertheless, something that you enjoy because you get to people watch. We find ourselves at Navy Pier. Navy Pier is still a thing, y'all.
Yes, it is.
It's still a thing. It doesn't cost to go into Navy Pier, and you will find something to do. We find ourselves moseying around there, spending a lot of time just chatting and catching up and people watching, you know, if you're into that. Also, I went to a Cubs game for Pride. I got a free jersey with my ticket. My ticket was nothing but $55, I think. It's $55. Not a very expensive ticket. I had a great time that night, and I walked away with not just the vibe and the great energy, but I had a free jersey. I had a free jersey that I wore to the beach the following week. So get outside, move around, do some outside recreation, meet your friends at the beach. After work, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be the weekend. Meet them at the beach. As a matter of fact, what beach is that hosts the house music on Thursdays? People really come out there with their barbecue grills. They pitch their tents, and they're just truly enjoying themselves. So I highly recommend going to the beach in the summertime in Chicago. Get outside.
Yes. Another thing, because actually I just thought about that same beach you're talking about. They do like house music nights, as she said, on Thursdays, but they also have salsa dancing classes on Tuesdays. So that just takes me along the line of classes, right? Learning to do something that you have not done.
Yes.
Y'all, what a great time to invest in yourself. I mean, these classes and workshops usually have, you know, a very minimal cost, but you almost always walk away with something. I mean,
some examples.
Yeah, you could do a cooking class, and I mean specific cooking. Like I saw there was one catered only to like beignets or something like that.
Not cannolis.
There's cooking workshops. There is like pottery workshops. There are a ton of DIY labs in Chicago. Places you can make candles. I've been to one of those. That was awesome.
Candle making places.
Fragrance making places. And I mean, you know, you can do the fragrance, you can do the body oils, you can do the room.
And they keep it.
And they keep it, yeah.
Because I just refilled Big Daddy not too long ago.
Yes.
Big Daddy, for those who do not know, is a fragrance that I created with her. I call it Big Daddy for reasons that you all don't need to know. But it makes plenty of sense to me, and we're gonna leave it at that. Check it out, the Aroma Bar.
Yes, Aroma Bar. They are up north Chicago. What else? What was the other one we talked about? Oh, there's a place I just saw on TikTok. You can make like your own lipstick, lip glosses,
tapestries.
Yes,
yes,
tapestries,
rugs, ceramics.
What else? And then there's also like, again, those how to do classes. You can learn what's some different things. We talked about dancing, cooking, of course.
If you're like me and it's stiff as a plank of wood, you might want to go to a Pilates or a yoga class so you can start introducing that into your life at 30 plus.
All of those. All of those things. But again, it's like, you know, it's something fun to do in that moment, but you leave there with a new skill and it could potentially become a new hobby, you know?
Hobbies are important to have.
Hobbies are extremely important to have, especially
you can't be up under people all the time. Let me just say that it's necessary for you to know that you need to be able to enjoy your company.
Yes.
If you find yourself, if you can just, you know, think for a second and find yourself always having to be around other people, I'm going to encourage you to pick up a hobby. You need to pick up a hobby, learn how to play an instrument. Maybe you want to dabble into painting. Maybe you want to dabble into ceramics or some other craft. Maybe it's gardening. That's it for some people. That's not it for me. The most I'm going to do is pull my weeds and mow my lawn. But definitely important for you to have a hobby. Earlier we mentioned about, you know, people not really living until they retire, and then they retire and they don't know what to do with all this time that they have. You have to start setting yourself up for that now. You have 100%. To start moving around now, understanding how the world is changing, how technology is evolving, so you can stay in tune with the movement of the world. So by the time you do choose to retire, we're not going to get into age, but the time you choose to retire, you know exactly what you're going to be doing, spending your time, how you're going to be spending your time. Because some people retire, but they end up going back to work, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not, you know, shaming those individuals. But if you're going to go back to work because you want to go back to work, not because you didn't have nothing else to do.
For sure. I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. What are your hobbies?
Okay. My hobbies, I like to paint. I also am a writer. I've been working on a book now for the last 3.5 years. It is called Temple Work. So that's something that I do in my leisure time. I am a nerd, so I like to read. Painting, reading, writing. I used to play the piano more than I do now. I find myself, like, if I'm, you know, in a more somber state, singing does bring forth peace and calmness to me. But I've been singing and playing the piano since I was 4 years old. So I think it will always do that for me. And I enjoy going outside. I enjoy running. Sometimes my hips don't like it, but those are some some of my hobbies.
That's good. For me, I would say definitely skincare, as she said. I'm super big into skincare. And I really enjoy taking the time to learn more about it. Like, I've taken plenty of like advanced continued education courses on how the skin works, the science behind it. That is something that I am thoroughly
I do go to her when my skin's doing something terribly.
One of the other I've always been a museum girl. I really have. Typically when I would go on vacation with my family, I'm looking to see the nearest museum because I want to go and I want to learn something. And so getting those opportunities to go, whether it be at home or somewhere else as an adult, they do me well. That's why I said, like, child, going to that planetarium, I got my life.
Okay,
I got my whole life.
Filled your cup
Filled
all the
me
way up. She was really happy. She shared that day with me.
I like, you talked about gardening. I'm not the gardening type. However, I do love flowers. So another thing that I really enjoy when I go places is looking to see where their closest botanical garden is. I remember I went to Miami in 2020. So this was June. So full on pandemic. Yes. However, we had a trip planned because we were supposed to be taking a cruise. The cruise was canceled, but we decided, you know what? We have been in this house for months. We still going to Miami.
Sure.
So we went to the Scotia. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Botanical Gardens. And when I tell you, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I booked it for me, a little selfishly. Family just went, but we all had a ball. It was surrounded by this big castle. It was all this history attached. Like it was beautiful to see.
Botanical Gardens are beautiful.
They're gorgeous.
One of my best friends got married in one.
What a dream!
Virginia. Yeah, it was. Except this bee was like squaring up with me while I was up there, and they were exchanging vows, and I had to like shoo it away with my
real low key
my bouquet. Other than that, it was gorgeous, fabulous time.
Yes, but also because we were still talking about learning, right? Another thing that you guys absolutely should do, especially if you have not done it. We need to all constantly be in a season of being grateful, okay? Because we have what we have, whatever it may be for you, you have it, and there's somebody that doesn't. So another thing to get into, especially because I'm gonna tell y'all, I have days, okay? I have days where I'm like, what am I about to do? I am bored.
When she uses the word bored, I am thoroughly taken aback.
But it's like, okay, what should I do? Maybe you can't find anybody, that wants to hang out or, blah, blah, blah. Go volunteer somewhere. Go and volunteer somewhere. There is always some kind of association that would love to have your help. So just look it up. Shelter, like food kitchens, sometimes picking up stuff on the side of the highway, there would be a place that would absolutely, no thank you.
No, thank you.
There's absolutely a place that would love to have you. So yeah, look up some volunteer opportunities where you are.
That's good. And there are plenty of them now, and that's throughout the year. That's not just the summertime.
Not just the summertime.
You always have the opportunity to give back a portion. I think that all of us are called to serve, and so I love that we're on this platform of gratitude because we ran into a couple of hiccups out here. We ran into a couple of hiccups in Venice, as a matter of fact. But I'm exceedingly grateful to have ran into those hiccups with her, simply because we know how to put on the glass half full affect when those hiccups happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's a bit of an inconvenience, but our goal was to explore Venice when we got into Venice, and unbeknownst to us, we were going to do it by way of trying to locate luggage. Either way, we went about exploring Venice, and we just had some funny laughs. Matter of fact, I have to share a story. We're here. I'm going to share this story, and then we can get back on track with the episode. But the name of the airport, that of which we flew into in Venice, is Marco Polo. Yes. Marco Polo Airport, right? We got this beautiful Airbnb, 2-bedroom, very comfortable. Going from the airport to where we thought was going to be the Airbnb, it couldn't be possible. The driver he spoke minimal English, but he did fair enough to explain to us that he can't get us to this actual Airbnb. We could not quite understand that, but that's because there's so many different rivers that separate portions of Italy. And so he took us into Piazza Roma, which is this like kind of center area where public transportation is. There's some little like coffee shops and stuff around, but that's really where the buses are, the trains are, you catch a cab, etc., etc.
It's gonna be there.
So he took us into this area, guys. The amount of stairs, bridges that we had to cross,
with luggage,
to get with our luggage to get to the Airbnb. I literally had to turn into the She-Hulk.
Yes, indeed.
To get up these stairs.
Very grateful. Very grateful.
With the luggage. It was such an adventure though, because when we finally got there, it's like, oh, beautiful. Take a load off. We ended up taking a nice nap.
Well needed.
The heat was pretty exhausting. But even with that, when we finally woke up, we had to get back to the airport because both of our luggages were trapped in Turkey. Mine came in on the 1 o'clock flight. Hers came in on the 7 o'clock flight. Okay, boom. Fix our attitude. We gonna explore. We're gonna get this luggage. We don't have a choice.
Right.
So we wake up. We're deciding that we're gonna go to get this luggage. I have this app. It's called City Mapper. Highly recommend if you're trying to get around a city that you're not used to. It doesn't have to be used internationally. You can use it domestically as well. If you're in Chicago, you can use it that way as well. Anyway, it tells you what bus, what train to get on, etc., etc.
Yes.
Now they use a lot of water buses that are called
traghetto.
Those are their water buses, and then there's a water taxi. Because again, the man could only bring us into this Piazza Roma. We had to travel in alleyways, over bridges to get to our Airbnb. Okay? I felt like a spy. This was my dream, actually. Especially at nighttime. That's another story. But finally, I put into City Mapper where we're trying to go, which is Marco Polo International, I thought. Put it in there. The directions seemed pretty easy to get to. And so, okay, we're on our way. We're on our way to what we think is, in fact, the airport. And so we're going through these alleys. We're going over bridges, but no luggage. The luggage is left, right? We're going to get her luggage from the airport. Finally, it says, like, we've hopped on 2 different boats to get...
We're following it. The time is going down. We're going the right way. And it takes us down this alley. And it's like, you have arrived.
We're like, there is no airplane.
This is not the airport.
Anywhere over this little alleyway. Walk up to this shop, y'all. Guess what it was called?
Y'all don't know? I'll tell you. Right there on the window. Beautiful. Marco Polo International.
I mean, hollering. What?
Couldn't number laugh.
What? Now we've pushed our time back a whole another hour to get to her luggage. Eventually, so we got to go all the way back.
The way we just came.
Where we just came to hop on a bus to get to the airport, which was a very comfortable bus ride. Needless to say. But listen. A time was had.
We explored Venice, baby.
We explored Venice, and we ended the night with a beautiful dinner next to this river.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Italian beer. I can't wait to go home so I can order some. It's been delicious thus far, but yes, had to share that story. Last but certainly not least, back to our list of things.
Yes.
Social gatherings. Mentioned in that book that I was reading, The Joy of Small Things, one of the things that she mentioned were house parties. We love a good house party. You know, we try to act like we real grown and we don't need that, but we love a good house party. You're inviting people. You're intentional about who it is that you're inviting. The guest list is yours, and whether it be something super high class where you have servers, or something super low key where ice is thrown in the sink and drinks are in there, right?
Bring your own dish.
We love a house party.
Yes.
So in the summertime, when you get that text, I'm finna throw something on the grill. Put your clothes on and go.
Pull up. Yeah, it takes nothing, and I feel like it's so easy for people to be like, oh, I don't want to go because they're making it this big to do. Again, you said it perfectly. Put something on the grill is not a big to do.
No, it's not.
That is it's a beautiful day. I think I'm gonna have some people over. Straighten the bathroom up a little bit. It's fine. It is fine. You don't have to do too much. We're gonna be outside. Just make sure that people can follow that path to get to the bathroom if they need to. That's it. We are outside, and it does not have to be an all-day thing, y'all. That's another thing that I want y'all, and also me a little bit, I want us to free ourselves of that idea that this has to be a thing where outside it gets cold, we go in the house. No, it does not, baby. It's getting a little chilly. Can I get a blanket? You can't get a blanket at your house. Party's over. I had a great time with y'all. You know what, y'all? You know, one of my best friends, her husband does this exceptionally well, and it is not something that anybody takes offense to. It's hilarious. When that man is done partying with us, he is getting up and he is going into bed. And we like, all right, well, this day house, I guess the party is over. There's nowhere for you to go. You're like, okay. Because at that point, you just like, I didn't have me a good time. It is time to go home.
It is time to go home.
Yes, go to the house party.
The grill. Be mindful, though. I have to say this because a potluck is a potluck.
Yes.
Someone hosting something is someone hosting something, okay?
Very different.
There are two different things. If someone says explicitly this is a potluck, normally they're going to tell you what it is that they're going to provide.
And let you know
then have to fill in the blanks,
yes.
Okay, with what's not going to be there, okay? I'll give you an example. I'm having a potluck. I'm gonna throw some meat on the grill. I will have all the meat.
Yes.
The meat will include X, Y, Z.
Right.
I will take care of cups, plates, plasticware, etc. You have to bring a side.
Yes.
I have the meat, okay?
Yes.
Now, if that's not explicitly said, okay, you can then make a good assumption in good faith that everything is going to be provided.
Yes.
I think it's just a nice gesture to bring
for sure
something to somebody else's home,
yes.
Whether it be a bottle of champagne, wine, some other spirit. Needless to say, it should not be a requirement if it was not explicitly stated.
Yes.
I'm just going to throw that little tidbit in there. But nevertheless, social gatherings, themed parties, certainly last but not least, themed parties.
Love
I think she's a
party.
queen of themed parties. I worked with someone who always has a themed party for her birthday. It's always in July, so I may or may not be able to make it. But shout out to Patrice. She had Christmas in July. Then it was Under the Sea. I forget what, I think this one was a big top, like a circus one this year.
Cool.
Yeah. So themed parties, that's something else you can also do and really get into character. I'm not going to expound on it because it's truly her thing.
I'll talk about theme parties a little bit. I will talk about theme parties. First of all, I know I talked to y'all a little bit before about the Dollar Tree. Frequent shopper, I am. I have to say, if you want to have yourself a fun party and you're not sure what the theme should be, wander into Dollar Tree and let the theme find you.
That's good.
Okay, because luau, easy work. Even the circus you were just talking about, I've seen that stuff sometimes in there. Easy work. Just wander and let it find you. But no, it doesn't have to be a big thing. I'll tell you guys now because whatever, it's happening. I'm throwing myself a birthday party this year. It's going to be Wizard of Oz themed, okay? So it's not a grand thing with the decorations. I have some green streamers. I have some little lights I'm gonna put in there. I got a couple signs from Amazon, but it is a theme, and the theme is being brought to life through myself and the people that I've invited.
Yes.
If I was just contingent on the decorations for the theme, that'd be a little different. But the actual attire is what makes it, and that is such an easy thing to do, y'all. And it doesn't. Again, we talked about at the house, but if you want to do a venue, my birthday last year, I had a Kentucky Derby themed brunch. I found a restaurant that mimicked the aesthetic that I wanted, but again, the assignment was the attire. That's what makes the pictures. That's what makes, everything come to life.
I just figured out what I was wearing to this birthday party. I was extremely stressed.
A good theme will just change your life. It really will.
Extremely stressed trying to figure out what I'm wearing to this birthday party, but I got it. It came to me. And we're just going to end this by doing this little bit of a call to action.
Yes.
How grandiose of us, right? But needless to say, we are inviting you to share some of your favorite summer activities with us.
Yes.
We got a hashtag, okay? Use your social media platforms and hashtag us. Hashtag we outside VV.
Yes. Hashtag we outside VV.
We want to see what y'all doing. We want to see what y'all doing. Get into it.
Get into it.
Have
Put
a
it
time.
in the comments. Put it on your Instagrams. We would love to see the photos.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Just get on this hashtag. If you guys want to send us some photos, you can send it on Twitter at Vibrant Vocation without the S, because they refuse to give us that S.
Hate 'em.
But if you hashtag We Outside VV on there, we will definitely repost your pictures.
Well, it's not Twitter
gas you
anymore.
up. Oh,
It's X.
I said what I said. I have never called that app X. But if you are politically correct, X, yes, at Vibrant Vocation. Yeah, we will retweet, we'll repost, we will shout you out, we will gas you up. But yes, use that hashtag. Facebook, we will find you on whatever app y'all are on. But yes, talk back to us, y'all. Pop off in the comments. Tell us where you've been this summer. Tell us what road trips you have planned, because summer's not over yet. As
We may want to go. You may give us a recommendation.
For sure.
I was just telling her earlier when we woke up and we were having our morning coffee. Morning coffee on the deck. That I wanted to take a little road trip. So if you've already had a road trip or got a road trip planned, please share. Might want to steal that activity.
Yes, and even if you have tips, travel tips, listen, traveling is a universal community. Just as we gave tips here, we take them just as much. So if you have any tips about domestic road trips, international travel, whatever it is, sound off in the comments. But that is it for us, y'all.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for
As
tuning
always,
in.
we appreciate you guys.
Yes.
We know we missed some time. Life was happening, but we back. We back. All love. Peace out.
Vocations. Bye, y'all.